Do you want to learn the real history of carbonara? This video is for you. I need to eat some pasta before I start this, so I get some energy. I made a Roman arrabbiata sauce. In the last few years, many people shared their opinion about carbonara history created by the Americans, reading books and this and that. But what's really true? We don't know. Okay, just because someone does a video, goes on TV, or reads someone's documents, that doesn't mean history to me. Okay, so let's really analyze the history of carbonara. Okay, because I'm going to surprise you today. There is one important detail that nobody talks about, and it's my most important piece of documentation for me. In Rome, we have 4 famous pasta recipes: the carbonara, the cacio e pepe, who came on later on in life. Okay, then we have the amatriciana, and the most original and oldest one is the pasta alla gricia. Okay, pasta alla gricia is dated, could be even earlier, at least the 18th century. Okay, you can read from this document that pasta alla gricia is considered by many to be ancestor of pasta alla matriciana. It has roots in Amatrice, okay, in the province of Rieti. Back then, actually, Amatrice was part of Abruzzo, the region where I'm from. And there are 2 theories of its name. One named Gricia, which is the reference to Gricio, the person who dealt with the resale of food, especially bread. Let's say old school deli, okay, or little supermarket. This worker, according to tradition, had no time for overly elaborate dishes and mainly ate simple pasta topped with guanciale and pecorino. Another hypothesis is that the name Gricia derives from the town Grisciano near Amatrice, which therefore would be the true birthplace of this dish. It was only around the 1800s, however, that tomatoes were added to the recipe ingredients of Amatriciana recipe. Okay, so the tomatoes added to the Gricia gives the name to Amatriciana pasta. This is another great article I'm going to read with you. It's from Barbetta Restaurant, a very nice Italian restaurant in Sydney. And read this: humble beginning from the hills of Amatrice. The history of pasta amatriciana dates back to the early centuries of Italian rural life. The shepherds in the hills around Amatrice would prepare simple yet nourishing meals to local ingredients. The original version of amatriciana, known as gricia, was created without tomatoes, because we didn't have tomatoes in Italy. The tomatoes came from America in the 1800s, a vital ingredient that only arrived in Italy in the 16th century. Instead, it was made with guanciale, pecorino, and black pepper, providing the shepherds with high-energy, rich, filling meal to sustain them throughout their long days. Okay? Very important sauce. Now, I also want to remind you that I mentioned before, Amatrice was a town, part of Abruzzo where I'm from, okay? Abruzzo is famous for pecorino cheese, for the guanciale, which was originally created in Amatrice, and Abruzzo is very famous for the guanciale, especially the areas around Avezzano area. Amazing guanciale makers. In 2 days, the areas of Avezzano area, Tagliacozzo, in Abruzzo, make incredible guanciale. And I believe the Romans love it so much, but they don't want to say it, because now carbonara is from Rome. Let's keep reading about Amatriciana and Gricia. Gricia is known to be the white version of the famous Amatriciana. Its origins are uncertain. It could have originated in Amatrice, the border of Lazio and Abruzzo. I told you it was part of Abruzzo back then. From the custom of the local shepherds, okay? Their name could come from somewhere, but the point here is for you to understand a pasta alla gricia has been around for a very long time. Way long before the carbonara, all right? Pasta alla gricia is made with pecorino cheese, guanciale o pancetta, and pasta water. Gricia, it's a carbonara without the egg, okay? Then amatriciana was created. So matriciana is gricia, so guanciale o pancetta, pecorino cheese, pasta water, and tomato sauce, okay? While carbonara doesn't use tomato sauce, use the eggs, okay? We're going to get there slowly. We're going to get to the point. We're still in the 1800 here, all right? Now let's move forward. I'm going to read another little piece from memoriediangelina.com, another trusted source. What was Italian cuisine like before the tomatoes arrived from America? Pasta alla grigia gives you us some ideas, okay? Widely considered the ancestor of the more famous bucatini alla matriciana. It's a simple dish that, according to at least one legend, originated among shepherds in the mountain around the town of Amatrice, being made from pasta, cheese, cured pork, and things that shepherds could carry around for days. Now, let's move up to the carbonara. This is an article from cookingschoolitaly.it, Accademia Italiana of Chefs. Okay? Origins of carbonara. One hypothesis, there are three hypotheses. The one that you already know, that the Americans created the carbonara, okay, in Italy. Then the other one is the Neapolitans hypothesis, which you can discover yourself. This is the one that I believe is the one that's really connected to the real one. So this is, in my opinion, the real history of carbonara, the closest one at least. The dish would have been invented by the charcoal burners, carbonari, who prepared using ingredients that are easy to find in store. Okay, these carbonari were from the region of Abruzzo, the famous Abruzzo carbonari, people that used to work the coal. In fact, to make the charcoal, it was necessary to monitor the charcoal for a long time, and it was therefore important to have the necessary provisions with them. The carbonara in this case would be the evolution of the dish called cacio e uova, originally from Lazio and Abruzzo, mainly Abruzzo, which the carbonari used to prepare the day before by bringing it to their work, consumed when they go to work, and was easy to eat by hands. The pepper was already used in good quantity for the preservation of the bacon. Fat or lard used to replace the oil. Too expensive for the charcoal burners. Lard was used a lot in the past. Just to give you a piece of history, in Pescara we have a pizza which is called the pizza from Pescara. It's a normally like little one. There is no use of any extra virgin olive oil in that, but it's lard. Lard goes in the dough and lard goes in the pizza kind of tray where you cook it in. And lard, it was an important ingredient for, I would say, poor people who couldn't afford extra virgin olive oil. Lard is rich, it's heavy, and gives lots of flavors. The Abruzese, the Apennine origin, which is where I'm from, and that's why I found out all these infos, of this dish, finds another confirmation in the name of this dish. The term carbonara in Abruzzo refers to pancetta, that is salted pork and cooked on coals. Interesting, right? Now let's go up to another website, lacucinaitaliana.com, a very trusted source. Carbonara history. Carbonara is most associated with Rome and the Lazio region, but as with so many Italian dishes in Italy, its origin provokes much speculation and debate. Some connect it to pasta cacio e uova, a Napolitan dish of pasta tossed with melted lard. Napolitan, but that we'll just finish to say it's from Abruzzo. Guys, the region of Abruzzo, which is where I'm from, and I do tours, Italy unexplored tours, the region of Abruzzo deserves more respect. Nobody talks about the region of Abruzzo, okay? Abruzzo and Molise are two regions nobody talks about. It's like we don't exist. But we've done so much in history, okay? We've done so much, especially in the food industry. Think of guanciale. Think of all the beautiful pastas we created. The spaghetti meatballs, the original ones, are from Abruzzo, from the province of Teramo, right? And now it completely changed in America and worldwide, but the original one is from Abruzzo, so very important. Now, here it says, as documented in Ippolito Cavalcati, 1839 Napolitan cookbook. So we're going back, long time back, right? Because the name comes from the word carbonaro, some believe the dish was created as a hearty, easy meal by men working outdoors for long periods. Others trace to the Allied liberation of Rome in 1944, with Americans bringing their daily rations of eggs and bacon to local restaurants to add to the limited Italian menu. Supporting the story is the first written reference to the dish in newspapers, La Stampa in 1950, describing it as a dish prized by American servicemen, Shortly after, carbonara also appears in Elizabeth David's classic 1945 book Italian Food. Now, you have to think, okay, that before the war and during the war, there was lots of ignorance in Italy. We know that the cacio e uova, and we know that the gricia is originated in the 1600s. We know that the tomatoes came from America in the 1600s. We know that matriciana was invented in the 1800s. Now, this evolution is not really written in many books, but we got some Italian books that spoke about these recipes, thank God. Now, when the Americans came, I don't know what happened, okay? What I can say to you is that after the war, okay, in Rome, and this is something that my nonna would tell me, okay? Nobody would care about the carbonara history at that time. Nobody would care about any dish. My nonna ate for many, many, many years the same food every day. It was pasta e fagioli, pasta e fazool. Do you think she was worried about guanciale, carbonara, eggs? No, okay? But when the Americans went back to America, maybe they had the time to talk about this dish they discovered, okay? Maybe they made it with bacon, okay? Maybe the Americans put the cream. But that's not an Italian history, okay? I just finished to tell you that gricia was already invented, okay? Amatriciana was already invented. Someone had the idea to add the eggs to the gricia. So we have the gricia, pasta, guanciale, pecorino. Let's add the eggs. Maybe it was an idea by an American. Could be. Could be an idea by a chef. Could be an idea by a nonna, who knows, okay? But what we need to understand that in Italy, and I'm talking about the nonnas who were alive, okay? My nonna's friends were alive, and my nonna, from the war up to the 70s, nobody was focusing on the carbonara, spoke about carbonara. Italy was getting back in action. Italy was rebuilding the country, the nation, okay? And I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about creating work opportunities, working on other things, okay? Carbonara was not a priority. Maybe carbonara has been around in households, okay? Together with the gricia, together with the matriciana, okay? But like I said, not many people talk about it. Now, I don't know what happened to carbonara, whether it went to America. I don't know what you added in there, creams, or I don't know what history you created. And your books have created a history of carbonara in America. Kind of the same story that happened to mac and cheese. Mac and cheese has always been Italian. I think originally from the Torino area, the North Path, near France. Okay, it was cooked to an American president back in the late 1800s, I believe. Maybe Jefferson was the name of the president. And then what happened is the Jefferson liked it so much, he brought it back to America. And maybe the way it was cooked, maybe the recipe sheet wasn't right, so the recipe changed, okay? So the mac and cheese today in America is completely different to the original mac and cheese that was served in Italy, okay? But you made the history from mac and cheese, you created the history. But carbonara, it never changed. It's just that this 20, 30 years in life, nobody really documented the carbonara. Anyway, the 70s is when the carbonara kind of started to become a little bit famous. We had a personality, a nonna, Soralella, who used to go on TV in movies. If you speak Italian or want to learn about it, Soralella, beautiful lady. She was actually very funny. She did lots of movies with famous comedians. She introduced carbonara to Italians, okay? We're staying in Rome. Carbonara, you really find it in Roman households, in the outskirts of Rome. You don't find it in Naples. You don't find it in Milan. You find it in Abruzzo, where I'm from. It was cooked differently, okay? And I want to show you how soon. But basically, it had a little bit of scrambled eggs in it, okay? But don't think of just scrambled eggs. It's also a bit of scrambled eggs. It was kind of creamy but scrambled. They will go on the pancetta or guanciale, on the pasta. And I want to show you a video now to show you how the carbonara was like for many, many years. Up to the 90s, in the 90s, in the 80s, I used to eat carbonara this way. That's how my mom used to make it. Today's carbonara is different, but we'll get to the point. I'm very happy to teach her to make the old school carbonara from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the one I grew up eating. If you want to see that video, please let me know and I'll share a video for you. Just let me know in the comment below. But I want to show you how the carbonara was served in the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. This is a video from Cecchino dal 1887. It's a restaurant in Rome from 1887. It's been around for a long time. It's a trattoria, nothing fancy, but I recommend you to visit. Now, if you look at the chef, he's going to tell you what he does. Watch.
d'acqua di cottura, perché vedrete che poi ci servirà. Scoliamo la pasta, come abbiamo detto, al dente, fiamma spenta, facciamo un po' insaporire la pasta così. L'uovo ancora non lo mettiamo. A questo punto interviene la nostra acqua di cottura. Mettiamo il pepe, andiamo a mettere un po' di pecorino, facciamo amalgamare. L'acqua di cottura che avevamo messo ci fa fare una specie di sughetto. A questo punto riaccendiamo la fiamma in modo da farla scaldare bene.
This is a very important technique to use a low flame. It's something that I still recommend everyone to use, even the modern carbonara, okay? But you have to be very careful to be there and don't kind of ruin the eggs, because today carbonara is made differently. But this technique is used to make the original carbonara, which is this one. It's not what I see in American books, and I'm sorry to say that, to be so harsh, but this is how you make the original carbonara. Keep watching.
Giriamo un po' per far amalgamare il tutto. Se dovesse asciugare troppo abbiamo sempre la nostra acqua di cottura. A questo punto, se abbiamo la pasta che è al massimo del calore, spengiamo la fiamma, prendiamo il nostro uovo, lo andiamo a buttare dentro intero, mai separare il bianco dal rosso. Perché ho spento la fiamma? Ho spento la fiamma perché altrimenti avremmo fatto la frittata. Invece così la carbonara ci rimane, a Roma si dice bavosa, ed è pronta da mettere in tavola. Se avete una spatola vi potete aiutare.
Can you see that? He wanted that. Okay, the pan was still hot. There wasn't a lot of pasta water. There wasn't a lot of. He didn't make the cream with the egg. He just put the egg in it, and he kind of got a scrambled egg. It was a creamy scrambled egg, like he said, bavosa. Okay, and that's how the carbonara usually made. Quick dish, and imagine having a pasta with don't think of scrambled eggs, but creamy scrambled eggs. That's filling. That's what people wanted, to be filled up and go through the day. You know what I mean? Look.
Con la spatola a tirar giù bene tutto. Correggete con ancora una puntina di pepe a vostro piacimento, un pochino di pecorino e nuovamente buon appetito.
That wasn't the creamiest carbonara I've ever seen, but that's the original one. If you watch my video from 2020 when I started the carbonara revolution, I went to Rome and I made carbonara for Romans. And I used kind of a mix of the new technique and this technique, where I warmed up the cream of eggs in the pan with the pasta. And I did get a little bit of scramble, just a little bit. It was a creamy scramble that got stuck on the guanciale, on the pasta. It was beautiful. See, if I do that today in Rome, or to you, people say, oh my God, that's wrong. Well, 2020 wasn't wrong. Now it is wrong. But I just want to remind you that that's how people used to make carbonara in the old days. Carbonara today has to be creamy. Now, people don't even use the whole egg anymore. I've changed as well. I only use the egg yolk. Many chefs do that. I've changed my mind. And it's true. When you only use egg yolk, the pasta, the cream, carbonara cream, it's a lot creamier, okay? It's got more flavors. It's just a different experience to the old school carbonara. Do I still love the old school carbonara? This one, you want to grab it? Yeah, I do. I love it. But do I make it? No, because I prefer the modern version, okay? Which is still use the same ingredients. But the difference is that they use only egg yolk, okay? You can watch my latest video, carbonara, to learn how to make it. But the original one is this. So when I hear people saying the original carbonara had cream, the original carbonara had this and that, guys, I don't know where you got this from. I'm giving you sources, I'm giving you infos from the donors, the people that lived in Rome during these years, and from clearly stated from the pasta alla gricia and amalfitana, who were the real original pastas from Rome. Cacio e pepe, carbonara came later, okay? Zozzona came later. So I hope this makes sense to you. You can't always trust videos when you watch someone because it goes viral. You can't just trust that person or that video. Unfortunately, today's information's not all real, okay? Unfortunately, also people like to get views. What's important today is just to get views, to be seen. That's not the case of Ingenio's Plate. We always work very hard to try and share the real information with you. I've been doing this for free for you since 2014, and I really believe in what I do, okay? So for you who appreciate what I do, please come back, always come here, share your opinion, share the comments, and let's promote real Italian food with everyone. But if you are coming here, I don't want to learn, and you want to believe in viral videos or historical books written by, I don't know, anyone who's not an historian, I could write a book tomorrow and make up stories. Would you believe me? Just because the book sells? So I hope you guys are willing to learn. I hope this video was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. Please, in the comment below, share more information, share your knowledge, share your feedback about this video. I like to have discussions, so let's talk about it. If you go to Rome, please check out some restaurants, old school restaurants that make the carbonara the old-fashioned way, like Cecchino from 1887. There are other restaurants, okay? So give it a try. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you on the next Vincenzo's Play video recipe or reaction video. E ora si mangia a beautiful carbonara.